And those are usually the loudest screamers.
They are. They are. Christmas right around the corner. They hadn't even put up, putting up the Halloween stuff.
You got mine out. I think I'm skipping it. I'm gonna skip fall. No, he was in prison yesterday. Yeah. He was in prison yesterday. He's going in 2 weeks.
All right, we've got everyone here. Well, Justin's not here yet.
He's flipping pizza.
We got he's supposed to be here. We called everybody yesterday, so
There's a pizza crisis.
he may be running behind. We'll go ahead and get started though, and he can join us when he gets here.
Pepperoni truck.
Got too much stuff today.
Mr. Chairman El Presidente,
Yes, sir.
if you would allow me, the Reverend Gary O. Perry would like to entertain a word of prayer before we begin, if you would so allow me to do that.
I would second that.
Go ahead.
That's an excellent idea.
Okay. All right, thank you. So, Father God, first of all, we just want to thank you for allowing us to gather together in unity, love, and peace and fellowship to talk about things that will make our great community of Alma better. Father, I pray blessings upon everyone here that have taken time out of their busy schedule. Just bless them for their sacrifice, for concern for the city of Alma that we all love so much, as well as this great community of Crawford County. Bless us, bless the United States of America. In Jesus' name I pray, and amen.
Amen.
That was not the second time you did that, was it?
Third time.
Third time?
I've done it 3 times. That's for me. Yeah.
This week.
Today.
Very nice.
We'll go ahead. We've got a lot on the agenda today, so we'll go ahead and call to order. I'll go ahead and call roll. Matul, Sean,
Here.
Gary,
Here.
Ted,
Here?
Justin's not here, and James McGee is not here. All right, first thing we need to do is I need a motion to appoint Rhonda Teague as our interim secretary, so that she can
Gladly.
take notes for the
I'd
meeting.
gladly do that.
I would second that.
Got a motion from Gary Perry and a second from Ted to appoint Rhonda Teague as our interim secretary for this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So, maybe I should have asked this question before we made that motion. So why is she, just asking, why is she interim?
Because we need to name her secretary so she can start taking minutes.
I mean, interim, why correct interim instead of
Because
permanent?
if you
That's
look
what I'm
at,
asking.
well, if you look at the agenda, that's on down to name her acting secretary.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that I should have read the agenda before I take questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have helped. This is just to establish her to take notes for this meeting.
Okay,
Just
I
so
got
we
it.
can get started.
I got it.
So we can get down to the bottom of the page eventually.
All right.
Wasn't that a full page ad or something?
I thought that we did, but I don't.
Oh, okay. There.
Oh, there we are.
There we are.
Okay, so we are in there.
Yes.
All right, old business, we don't have any old business. New business, Tommy Williams is not here. Eric Savage, not here. We need to, okay,
Include what he handed out in that packet. What Eric said he handed out last week.
you had it in this packet.
Yes, that paper that you handed out.
All right.
Was Tommy on the softball stuff?
Mm-hmm.
He said that he wasn't gonna be able to have numbers together yet.
Okay.
He is, the gentleman that was gonna volunteer a bunch and donate a bunch of stuff on the lighting back down. And so it's kind of having a reset that whole deal.
Okay.
Did you want to approve minutes?
Oh, yeah. Why don't you let me skip that? You're not doing your job, you're fired.
That's right, I'm just talking to you right now.
All right, I'm sorry. We skipped the approval of our minutes from our January 11th meeting. If y'all can look over those, and then I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I hope Eric didn't think that we actually approved anything on that last meeting because we didn't have a quorum.
That was the September.
That was September. So we never approved July minutes because we couldn't.
Right. Okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve all the minutes from the previous two meetings. We did not have a quorum for the last one.
Yeah, we didn't have minutes. We only had minutes from July. We didn't have
Well, there you go.
minutes in September.
So it would be just for the July minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I second that motion for July minutes.
We'll get it. All right, so I've got a motion and a second to approve the minutes as printed for our July 11th meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, all right. On Eric Savage, he's not here, but he did present to us at our last meeting for the disc golf tournament that he holds every year. He asked for $2,500.
$4,000.
For what we talked.
Is what we had talked about.
So we had talked about upping that to 4.
And he was supposed to be bringing us a plan for future projects that he had.
We told him to this 4 for this tournament, and then we need to start looking at helping him develop some of that up there. Anyway, so
I talked to him yesterday. He says, this is the quietest tournament I ever had. We just got like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, he never seen like this before.
wow.
But he's done a lot of that work on his own and
Yeah.
with his own money, and so, I feel like it's time for us to maybe try to help him. He's been carrying the water on those projects for sure, so.
This 4,000 is, he used it, his tournament was what, last weekend, wasn't it? I think.
Saturday.
So he's already had it?
He already had it.
Okay, so you want us to reimburse him? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he came to us ahead of time, but we didn't have enough for a quorum to approve it, so now we're kind of old business backing up into.
And so what was his original request?
25,
25?
2,500.
Okay, so we raised it to 4,000.
That's what Ted says.
He's gonna develop some holes. They're talking about even putting a kiosk out there, making it more of a, well, and more of an upscale attraction,
More of a-
competing against some of these other bigger cities and making it more of a permanent thing that is a little easier to maintain so that you're not taking up, putting down, taking up, putting down, that kind of thing. So I make a motion that we approve $4,000 for the gentleman.
I second it.
And a motion from Ted and a second from Gary to approve $4,000 for the Western Arkansas Flying Disc Association. For reimburse him for the tournament he just had and to help pay for course maintenance with what's left over. All in favor?
Aye.
Arkansas Love Where You Live advertisement. Is that in the packet? So that is a magazine that is geared toward economic developers and site selectors. It's published every 2 years. We have had a full page ad in the last publication. We'd like to do a full page ad again. I don't have the papers that tell how much the ad is. If you want to get them real quick.
Well, I'm thinking, I see it in his eyes.
Mayor, while you're here, are we on the radar for anybody? Are there any folks?
Economic development type.
Yeah,
No. I don't mean to be short with it like that. We've not had any discussion. We've had some conversations, but just not really too much involvement at this point.
is there anything that you've gleaned out of conversations that we're lacking, that's something that, as a community, we need to try to address?
There's always the part of the quote industrial park, but that is not very feasible for us. There's some land adjacent to our community that a gentleman wants us to get water and sewer to, and then he do something later, but that's quite a extensive commitment on our part and not much commitment on his part. So we have met with the Arkansas Economic Development people and have this particular plot of land in their brochure, not brochure, but in their, they've come down and done a study on the land and recommended what it's best to be used for, but nothing much beyond that.
Do you know ballpark how much the investment on the city part would be to get it to that?
A couple $1 million,
No kidding.
and I mean, it's just,
Wow.
So
I
4,500.
mean, in most places, the developer helps with that
Sure.
cost, and this particular gentleman wants us to do that, so
Right,
he can sell his land.
right. And we would have to annex that piece of property in
Yes.
order for it to be
Yes.
part of the city, or city of Alma, right?
All right, so this is it's a full page ad, it's $4,500. Also comes with a short story, just kind of so you can a blurb on your town. It puts you on the website, the Love Where You Live website, so the site selectors when they're searching places, or economic developers are searching places. We're in there, and then they distribute 10,000 copies at trade shows and stuff like that. So again, it's 4,500, but it is every 2 years.
Have we ever did this before?
We are currently in it now. Yes,
We are, okay. So this will be just a continuation.
This will be a continuation.
So it runs every year, but the 4,500 is only every 2 years. Am I understanding that right?
No.
It only comes out every
It comes
2
out
years.
every 2
Okay.
years.
Guess I was wishful thinking on my part.
Good try. We currently have a little over 10,000 available in our advertising line for the year, our budget. So, and it's
There's
October.
about 600 we have left in Alma Aquatic Park
Okay.
advertisements that will push out holiday sale week.
Okay, so we have that, left to spend before December 31st.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do you need from us, a motion and
Motion.
I'll make that
Second.
motion to continue that.
All right.
I'll
Got
get it.
Got a motion from Gary and a second from Tool to continue our advertisement in Love Where You Live for a full page ad at $4,500. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, hometown. I don't see Mandy here. Where? She was on the
That
agenda.
was, yeah.
There's Mandy Phelan right there.
Do you, before we start on Christmas, Boo Fest, do you have anything do you know anything about Boo Fest or what they're planning or needing?
I know that they asked me to come to the meeting tomorrow, so I'll have something tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow's too late.
I know.
It's basically gonna be the same thing as they had the previous year. Don't ask me the date, I think.
It's October 31st.
Yeah, it
I
is gonna be the
just,
31st.
But it's gonna be basically the same thing.
in the past, one year I know the A&P provided some money for them to buy the hot dogs and stuff with that they serve. I don't know if we did anything last year, but I just didn't know if they need any help from A&P. This is a huge night. There's no telling how many thousands of kids are down there.
Well, there's not gonna be any charge for booths, right?
Correct.
Correct.
That's the way it used to be.
No charge.
There's no charge for anything.
No charge for it.
So, do we want to?
Well, I mean, if they were needed some money, they would have been here, right?
We have our meeting
Maybe.
tomorrow.
Huh?
We'll be meeting tomorrow.
Are you, part of the committee?
What I'm trying to say is we're here today.
Right,
As
absolutely.
far as I know,
You-
we're good.
You can't
You
come
can-
to us after the event,
You understand?
Can you
As
text
far as
them?
I know, we're good.
Hey, Matthew, can you text them and ask them?
Huh?
Can you text them and ask them?
I'll text Mandy real
Yeah.
quick and we'll move on.
Well, we should.
Hey, because after, 11 o'clock, it's a done deal. Allotted an hour for this, so.
Did we not?
Everything's been for $5,000 for a nonprofit and stuff, so. Hand to Hand Foundation is putting up.
I can't
money for
remember. I mean,
nonprofits.
we only did, 4
free.
events all year, but.
I don't see any expense that we discussed, so I think we're good.
Y'all got buns, hot dogs, all that stuff accounted for?
We got everything taken care of as far as I know.
I don't need you.
Maybe we do.
Well,
Yeah.
all right, Melinda, tell us about this tree.
Okay, hometown Christmas. So this has been in the back of some of our minds for a really long time, and kind of we're awaiting on Main Street induction and got that, and so now it's time to really speak some life to it. So you have in front of you the project proposal, and that is for the purchase of the tree plus expenses. What I'm hoping for is the grass lot across from the shed on the west side, for the tree to be put there. It is, as you can see, a ring tree, which comes with lighted branches that has to be put together and installed, and so that's gonna take some doing. But anyway, what I hope to happen is, you can order the tree with ornaments and all of these add-on kinds of things, but truthfully, what my hope would be is that it would be a real hometown kind of thing. Get people involved in making ornaments and hanging, have a night where we hang ornaments with a lift truck and let people, ride in the little lift truck and put the ornament on, and just all those kinds of things. Get school groups involved in that kind of thing, including, people even making small paper plate ornaments, old-fashioned style. The tree does come with warm white lights. The branches are all lit, so the picture that you have there is really what it looks like, just with the warm lights. It is a sequoia tree. They call it a sequoia tree. I had hoped for a 30-foot tree, but they don't have any right now. So this is a 24-foot tree. And I talked to Mark Yardley about powering the tree with electricity, and so he's talked about the possibility of laying conduit to the spot so that every year it's there and it's, ready to use for different purpose and those kinds of things. Included in that are a lot of events wrapped around it. My hope would be is that we would have at least one event a week to draw people down here and try not to do things at the same time. For example, we would light the tree and have a festival wrapped around lighting the tree, and then the Christmas parade would be later. And then other things would be later, so that we get people back down here as much as we can. We've got a couple of places that are close to opening, that are gonna really love people being down here to help with their investment that they're making in the downtown. So anyway, you see there what I'm asking for, and then I'm also requesting an annual budget, an annual amount to be put in for adding things, adding placemaking, signage, and those kinds of things, like a big lit Christmas wreath where people can get their picture made, and just different things like that in coming years. I don't know the warranty on this tree. They did not get back with me in time for me to print this out, but I can get back with you about those kinds of things. When I reached out to other communities, they've used them for years. And
That was
so,
gonna be my question, what's the
Yes.
life expectancy
I
of this
don't
tree?
know really what the life expectancy is, but I talked to a couple people who had theirs for several years. And so my thought is, if we can, if we can get 10 years out of it, which I believe we can, of course they have replacement branches and those kinds of things, because it's big branches that come already lit, and you can see you light it in the core. And so anyway, that's the ask, to be able to kind of start doing some things down here around Christmas. They say it's a 6-day, they'll ship it within 6 days of the purchase. And of course, you can hire people to come and install. I mean, they have kind of the full wraparound service, which we won't ask for, just because of the price and that kind of thing. Maybe some pieces of it that we will. But I think you have information there to show you the kinds of vision we have for this, and that it be something that is really received in this area. People, I was telling a few people here that in the summer, I got the opportunity to answer the Alma area chamber phone for a couple of weeks. And the number one phone call I got was for the Popeye statue, of people from out of state traveling, saw it, wanted to know if it was still there and that kind of thing. And so placemaking does work. It gets people here, and lots of people travel from out of state to come to Alma to see Popeye. And so I believe the Christmas tree is one of those things that will also kind of start, hopefully, some really cool Christmas traditions wrapped around gathering community and getting people down here. So that's it.
Will it stay up all year or to be
No,
taken down?
it will be, we'll have a Christmas lighting so that becomes its own little festival. And it'll have to be stored and those kinds of things.
Where's it gonna be stored at?
Have no idea.
My garage is not big enough.
I may have a storage building it'll fit in. I hope we don't have to.
If it comes to my house, it'll be up all year long.
Yes, I
What'll
understand,
happen.
I understand. Yeah. But anyway, I think it has the potential to bring a lot of people to the community. It seems to be a favorite thing to do. If you wonder about that, you need to start watching Hallmark movies.
Yeah. Hey,
Because I see it happen every night.
hey, how large is the storage building at the shed?
Well, speaking of that, let me say this about the shed. Thank you for helping with that project. And so in kind of working through all the shed and the farmer's market stuff, which continues to be a great success, we've had hundreds and hundreds of people come to the farmer's market this summer. And when it's all over, I'll get that data to you because you really should know it's good data. But I decided after talking to Mark Yardley and Cody Schindler that after you guys bought tables and chairs, those became a part of my storage building. I didn't like that. And my personal storage building. And so I talked to them, and so I talked to Steve Gann with Lumber One. If you notice on the front of the shed, there's a Lumber One logo as well as City of Alma and Hometown Alma and Alma Area Chamber, because those are really the folks who are kind of collaborating on that project. But Steve has consented to helping us redo the shed, and some things that I've asked for are more electricity, more outlets for vendors and just to do other things. The ceiling fans began to break, and during one event, the paddles to the ceiling fan, one of the ceiling fans flew off at an event. So don't turn those on anymore. So we want to replace those. We're talking about on the south end, you have a small little office, is what it used to be, was a little office. And then a restroom, and then 14 feet, I can't remember the dimensions, but I think about 14 feet, and then a small storage building. And so what Steve and I have talked about is that whole space there become storage, to store the tables and some other things. Because we just don't have space except in personal people's space to do it. And so Steve is gonna fit the bill. Lumber One is gonna fit the bill for all of those kinds of things. There's a couple of boards that have to be worked on, and there's just some safety things there that we need to address. So he's taking that on. And so I'm thrilled about that. So once we get the last farmer's market done, which is the last of October, we'll, October 28th, we'll, get to work on that and get everybody involved that needs to be involved with that to make sure it's done correctly. But for right now, we have funding for that, so that's a good thing. And so maybe funding for the tree underneath it or something, I don't know. I don't know.
On the tree project, have you visited with any other people yet about helping with this project? Like,
No, Mark Yardley.
what? Okay,
Mark knows that at some level, the maintenance team and some folks are gonna have to get involved in it just because of electric and, just the different pieces of it. I don't,
well, I just want, like if we buy the tree, can you find other people to do the rest of it?
100% it will happen.
The electricity, the concrete, all that
We're
stuff?
gonna make it happen, however we need to do it. If we get funding, to do the project, we're gonna make it happen.
And they can have this to you in time for this Christmas, right?
I told them we needed it before December 1st because I didn't know really when the Christmas parade was gonna be, and I don't really wanna put it up before Thanksgiving. I'm not in that mode really of doing that. But,
Who's gonna put it together?
we'll just find teams of people who work on that. It'll happen.
Mike McSpadden.
Wait for it.
Yeah, you're thinking about scaling that down to 30,000? Is that your,
The 26,000?
yeah, well, scaling it up to 30,000.
26,917.
Right,
I
well,
don't know what
plus
shipping,
the
shipping
electricity.
and taxes. I
Yeah,
don't
shipping
know
and
what that
taxes.
is.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so,
don't know.
30,000.
yeah,
I don't know what any of that is gonna be. We have to have sandbags or something to secure it.
Yeah.
So if you
Oh, wait.
look, I think it is, let me see where that picture is. I hope I put that in there. I show a picture of, and I didn't add that, but the rings, as you can see in one picture, like if you look, where it talks about the frame installation and shows the rings over here, and then the two rings at the bottom of it have to be filled with sandbags, or you can do guy wires and, things like that to secure it. People do it different ways. The salesperson was talking to me. I was actually talking to two people at a time, and they were talking about some groups using water jugs or water canisters or something. I don't know.
Freeze, yeah.
I don't know, but you should be impressed that I knew that it was a guy wire. But anyway, so the deal is Hometown Alma does not have any funds yet. We have not started fundraising. This is our first fundraising effort. And so that's the reason I asked for more, to be able to do more. Even though we're not gonna do ornaments and things like that. We're not gonna buy those. We're gonna create our own. I happen to have thousands of Christmas tree ornaments from weddings I've done at Christmas time that I did not get rid of, that we're going to get rid of this year.
So the 26,000 is just the tree?
It's just the tree, but it does not include shipping costs and tax. I don't have that quote yet.
Did it come with lights? You said it comes
It
with
is
some lights.
lit, warm white, like the picture on the second page. That's more of what it would look like. The branches do come with. I think what she told me, I would look down at there are 3 pictures below that big one. It's gonna have 12 lights on each branch, on each stem, I think is the way she described that. And we have to shape it and all those kinds of things. So it's gonna be some work. It is gonna be some work.
Well,
But yeah, Gary, back to that's kind of my thoughts, is I would like to see some private stakeholders as well in this.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
And I think if we call the hardware store and the electrical supply and places like that, I think you can get it done. I hope you can. I have faith in them.
So 30,000 would give you a head start?
We can get the tree paid for. I think I can get a premier sponsor to pay for the rest of it.
Well, maybe
I
get some
think-
folks to sponsor some ornaments.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
That
just-
is one thing that we will do if when we do things at the shed, like I mentioned, some things to do. We would sell ornaments, cheap ornaments for $1 a piece that we may pay 30 cents for, just to kind of generate some revenue to provide hot chocolate and those kinds of things when we get down there to party. But my thought is that it becomes something, really a few nights a week even, where people come, a church takes on sponsorship of it and brings somebody to sing Christmas carols or bands and have events wrapped around it for the full month is my plan. And so we'll get sponsors for all of those kinds of things as well. Because we're gonna ask people to provide refreshments, even if at a minimal cost. My heart is, of course.
I'm not sure I understand.
Can you believe that? You know how often that thing talks to me?
You're not explaining it.
I guess not. I guess not, Lord, I'm sorry. I haven't got it, hopefully, theater now. But yeah, my plan is for any of the events that happen, we have sponsorships of those things. And people kind of decide, a group might decide to do, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And sing or, have horses down there, people fed or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the plan, is for several nights down there to have events in downtown. So anyway, that's it.
Sounds great.
Does anybody have anything like this around here?
I'm gonna say that most towns do some sort of thing.
But I mean a tree.
Like this.
Does anybody have a tree?
Yeah, I mean, Big Hero has a tree that they light, and I don't know about Fort Smith. I know that it's a thing. I know that it's a placemaking thing for people to drive.
Oh, absolutely.
And, and look, it's kind of a crazy culture. I'm telling you, I watch more.
What
Christmas movies.
Melinda, on the hometown Alma, do we have the checking accounts and stuff for that set up?
I'm doing that today.
You're doing that today.
Yes.
Is there any way that we can pay for the tree directly and then give hometown Alma the difference of, like, can we coordinate
Like y'all
that?
would write the check to this company to pay
Yes.
for it? Absolutely, I don't.
The difference, there probably won't be any difference when you add
Add the
shipping
shipping.
costs and tax.
They shouldn't tax us if we're all nonprofits.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
Hometown Alma's a C3 and the city's a C3, so
yeah, well.
City-
you should tax
the
it,
city
yeah,
is a
yeah.
the
city.
shipping is gonna be,
City C6?
The
I
city.
got it. Wait.
it's not,
City,
we're not that.
I don't know, Chambers of C6,
Six.
is that right?
Chambers of C6.
Yeah. But yes, I don't know who writes the check matters.
Right, no,
We're just selling
Okay.
trees. So, yeah, any way you wanna work that out, that's perfect. So, I've got some grants that I'm working on for hometown Alma, and this kind of thing with a city partnership would be very, very good in future grant writing efforts, I can tell you. That just as a means of plea, but I just think it could be a really fun thing.
Okay.
Really great thing, so.
I do too. I do too. I like it. Thank you, Melinda.
I don't think I understand.
My wife would tell you to leave it up all year round.
I kind of lean that way too, but
I think it took me till, it was March before I got her tent archery.
well,
So
maybe we could hang pumpkins on it. Decorated every season.
Decorated.
That's what she said, we could make it a Valentine tree.
So, Brian, I'm gonna make a motion that we, give them 30,000.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. Got a motion and a second to award Hometown Alma $30,000 for the purchase of a Christmas tree to go downtown and any remaining funds after the purchase of the tree are to be used for the installation of the tree. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you very much. And now will you get with me about who's gonna write a check or
Yep.
whatever, whichever, doesn't matter to me.
Rhonda will holler at you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I gotta go talk to my tree now.
Look at your phone.
Okay.
Look at your phone. Okay, that's, okay. So,
Dear Lord.
Did we have any other requests that we needed to?
Before we move on, I'm sorry, did we determine, are we gonna pay tax on that or not? Or does it, do we need?
It'll be up to them.
Now, if she turns in an invoice with taxes on it, I'll question her on that, because if they are setting up as a 501(c), they should be able to avert those taxes.
he texted you.
Because I mean, we're talking $2,600.
They'll be on
I
tax.
mean, that
Yeah.
would be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was on a bag of potato chips, I wouldn't even say anything, but $2,600 is
No.
some money.
26,000 tax.
Well, but I mean,
20
10% of that's gonna be,
10%
yeah,
of 20, yeah.
so,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, Hometown is a C3.
Okay.
She's already got that established, she should. be able to-
Yes, she does. She's got the tax ID and everything on it.
She should
Okay.
give them that and avert those taxes. And if she
Okay.
turned it in with taxes, I'll question her before I pay it.
All right. Is that all our funding requests? Only ones I can think of. All right, our next order of business is to appoint Clerk Rhonda Teague as acting secretary until further notice. And why I need this is so that we can maintenance some accounts. So like the CDs that we hold through Cetera, this is what they want. They want minutes where we appointed her acting secretary because she will have to sign papers as secretary. All of our accounts already have Rhonda on them as a signer, so we don't have to do that. And I'm on them as a signer, so we have dual signatures, 2 people in place. So anyway.
are there any other duties that we need to facilitate that Chris was doing? Or is Rhonda gonna be able to maintain that for us for the time being?
I'm not aware that he was actually doing anything,
Okay,
but what I will need to do is to audit those accounts and make sure things that have been voted on in the, that's kind of what we've got a contract work over doing on the city side right now. Make sure things that are voted on actually happen, we know some haven't already, just do a quick look. And then as far as, I processed all the deposits and all that, he signed off on them for me, I talked to the auditors, they just need a second signature showing that it was checked by someone other than the preparer of that packet. So I have Peggy signing off, most of the time I have the mayor sign off as a third hand, especially if there's a check issue, so that we have all the signatures on it, since we don't have an official clerk in place.
are we still planning on sending some letters, delinquent letters?
Yes.
All right.
I did do that on the last one. And I meant to bring that report to you guys. I sent 5. 3 have come in and caught up.
Very nice. Okay, I would make a motion that Rhonda be the interim
Acting secretary.
Acting secretary.
secretary.
Yep, I'll second that motion.
Okay, I've got a motion and second, in lieu of the resignation of Chris as the clerk, as the city clerk, that we name Alma A as acting secretary of the A P Commission until further notice. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I said thank you.
One thing we do need to vote on though is removing Chris from those, removing Chris as a signer from our accounts at Citizens and Bank OZK, so from the A&P accounts.
Make
And I
that
will say,
motion.
I checked with Donna yesterday. They've already removed him on everything. I can call it later that the mayor signed off on, so that's gonna work on most, but she said it's still a good idea to have that.
Yeah, we'll still have them in minutes.
Okay, I make that motion.
All right. Got a
Second.
motion and second to remove Chris Miller as the, let's say his last name now. All right. As signer from the Alma A&P accounts at Citizens Bank and at Bank OZK. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Who seconded that?
Gary, I believe. All right, so for our next meeting, y'all have homework. Here's some things I want to, we need to do. First is we need to do a repeal and replace of our A&P ordinance so that we can update our wording. When that ordinance was passed in, what year was that? You remember?
99.
99, Airbnb wasn't a thing, you know? So there's been some updates. There's been some updates to the state law for things you can tax, such as for-profit meeting facilities. You can A&P tax those. And so we need to repeal and replace our A&P ordinance. I'd like to, hopefully, I don't know how long this takes, Mayor, but I'd like to get this done before the end of the year so that we can go into the new year kind of reset and get ready to roll. And I don't even know the process. I guess we would have to recommend this to the city council.
Yeah.
So I will say, it looks like the city of Greenwood recently done this. And so on their website, it has their ordinance where they repeal and replaced. If y'all want to kind of read over that, and I don't know who all, if Sean needs to look at it or.
So I was gonna say, secretary, I will petition Sean to
Say,
build that
to
ordinance
build that
for
up.
us, then bring it to y'all for approval, and then we would send it to council.
That sounds like a good plan. So that's the first thing we need to do. After we get that done, then we need to review our bylaws. We haven't reviewed them since we adopted them 2 years ago. So it's time for that. So she gave y'all all a copy of your bylaws in your packet today. So please look over those over the next month and come to our meeting in November kind of ready to discuss those.
If we decide to change penalty amounts, is that something that has to go through the board also?
Yes, so we'll talk about that now that you brought that up. I don't know if that needs to be in the bylaws or in the ordinance, but one of those, but yes. So at the same time, we'll adjust.
And the council will vote on that?
I think so. Well,
If you include it in the ordinance, they will have to. If you only include it in your bylaws, only you guys will have to, because y'all are sworn in.
Right.
Because you make final decisions on tax dollars.
So that's one of the things we need to do our homework on over the next month is on that. Another thing is Greenwood has a ordinance on A&P. It's a separate ordinance stating that failure to pay your A&P is a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor crime. And so we might want to look at that to see if that's something we want to kind of put a little bit more teeth. And in that same ordinance where it names it a misdemeanor, it gives the A&P authorization to audit books. So if we feel a business is being untruthful about what they're reporting, we then have the legal backing to go in and ask to review their books. So if y'all can look over those three things over the next month and kind of come to the November meeting ready to discuss those, I would appreciate it.
And if you'll make sure we have clarification on what we can do and what needs to go through the city council and help us kind of navigate, what direction. Did the governor ever sign that into law?
It's an act, Act 310 or something like that. So I'm assuming the governor signed it into law. So. Okay, that's all I have. Do y'all want to discuss finances?
Where are we?
Oh,
Yeah,
well, no,
yeah.
let's stop. Okay. Pause. We don't have, did you get us a balance sheet?
Yes, it's on the very back. I didn't get it in your email, but I did print it. For the
Okay.
I can see. I can't see the.
All right, so our balance sheet right now, our revenue account, we've got 293,000, expense account 9,200, and then the two CDs at Citizens at a little over 61 and a half a piece. So that's where we're sitting at. We've got about
Did we have a CD mature then?
with our other CDs at Cetera, because you can't see it.
Oh, okay.
And then we've got the 300,000 CD, don't we?
That's the only ones I can see.
That you can
So
see.
have another one
We
back?
do have another.
Yeah, we moved
We've got another
We
one
moved like
CD.
260,000.
And Donna's preparing all of those things for me today,
Okay.
so I can just look and see what we do have and what I need to gain access to.
Okay. So yeah, so that's there too. So we have about, before we spent 30 on the tree. So let's say that's 35. So we've got about 15 left in the budget for this year of unallocated or unallocated money. So
What were we going to do on the softball fields?
well, we've already allocated that, so it won't be that much more because we allocated him 25 and he only spent 8.
Okay.
And so we won't have to hopefully spend
Okay.
that much more.
Okay.
Revenue, we're a little over. Like if we continue on our current trend, we'll end the year at about 300,000 on A&P revenue. We budgeted 288, so we're tracking to be ahead of budget on revenue. So we're doing okay. We need to move some money though to cover all these checks we wrote. Alright, so I've got 81,000. Actually, I wanna say we need to move 85,000 from our revenue account to our expense account to cover authorized expenditures.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion and a second from Tool to move $85,000, transfer 85,000 from revenue to expense to cover approved expenditures.
I will say, I did get through September, the stipend done.
Okay.
But I haven't done also October, but
All right.
I did do those all in one batch.
Cool. That's why I kind of bumped that up.
And then I also wanted to ask, what, do you want me to leave those where they are right now? Or do you want me to pay myself the secretary and leave the clerk one open? How do you want me to do that? Or just leave me at the clerk's pay for now, since it is temporary?
Well, we gotta decide that.
Let's vote on this first.
Okay. All right. So let's, we got a motion and second on the 85, transferring the 85,000. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, so you're saying we can't just pay the city and the city?
We can, but what I'm saying is, so Chris received $284 in pay period, I received $80 in pay period.
Well, if you're doing his job, you need to receive his pay, is the way I,
So you want me to move
the
mine
way
to
I
the
see it.
clerk, to the secretary?
well, if you're doing both jobs. I don't wanna
I
speak
don't
out of
think-
line because
yeah.
I'm not a city employee. But if I was running,
This is just your money.
if I was running a business, if you're doing both jobs, you should receive both pays. But that's the way I see it.
So what?
So you will
so-
keep secretary, your secretary stipend.
I never got secretary stipend.
So you got, what stipend did you get?
Clerk.
So you got clerk stipend.
Mhm.
So you will keep your clerk stipend and then we will add the secretary stipend to you until we name permanent clerk, right?
If that's what y'all wish. I'm
Why
fine,
is it-
however you
Doing
choose
the
to do
job.
it, it's fine with me. I just want you to know that
Oh.
that potentially money was just gonna sit there unless you say to move it to be paid.
Okay, so how was it done in the past, Rhonda?
So it's split, the secretary for A&P receives 280 something, I don't know the exact numbers. And then the clerk receives 80 something. And per pay period, that's what's added as an A&P stipend for their duties as A&P secretary and clerk. So I prepare one transfer from A&P to the fund, the general fund, because our payroll just goes through the general fund. So then we create a check request that we put the documentation for A&P money transfers for that stipend to the general fund payroll line item to refund it for where it pays for our stipend.
Okay, so right now, you're gonna, until further notice, you're gonna be doing both
Right.
per se. Well, I mean, I think if you're doing both, you should be paid for both.
It's not gonna change the budget because the money's
Right,
already
it's
been
not gonna change the
allotted.
budget. The only thing that was gonna
Yeah,
change the
absolutely.
budget is if you left it empty and no
Well,
one was
yeah.
the secretary. pay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't have any problem with that.
We need to make a motion and vote on that.
I think it would be good to have that on paper.
I make that motion.
Well, and, I don't know if I need to second that being, on the city council. I need someone that's second that.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, got a motion and second to pay Rhonda the secretary, how do we want to call it, stipends, in addition to the clerk stipend until further notice.
I feel like that's how it works.
I want to make you earn.
I promise to do my best.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is that it? How are we on delinquents?
We have two currently.
Two.
One month and then one that is still, one that is still as it was from first of the month. She had called when I was, with someone at my desk and,
What number, what, you know?
yes.
You're
Number
going,
178.
he did that, didn't he?
Number 178.
Huh?
All right, well, I'm glad people are getting that caught up. All it took was a letter. Good deal.
So you have sent letter?
I sent letters after our last meeting in July. I sent delinquent letters to 6 locations, all but 2 have caught up.
Good.
One never opened, so she made that, she just called and said, hey, I never opened, there was a hang up with a business license or something, she never received it, so she just never set up an Alma. And so I just made note on the account that she never, so obviously, but I do think that we need to encourage people that they still have to file that 0 form.
Sure.
If they,
Sure.
if
If
they
they
have
don't
an
have any
account,
sales.
they still should file the 0 form. Because that's
Well,
just
and-
proper protocol.
And
Maybe we need to have like a town hall type thing where we invite these businesses one evening and say, hey, let's just get together and talk about AP, why y'all doing this, what we're doing with it, and kind of how we can help each other out to make this process easier.
They do it in other counties.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I thought I was the original idea on that.
I'm not opposed to that, but Rhonda, I don't know that you could just, along with the additions that you made on the new form,
They do it.
Once a year.
I think you can have just an additional sheet that goes out with that and said, this is what it's for. It's an attached tax, just like you pay state sales tax, and just kind of, spell it out a little bit because, you said where you talked about filing a 0, you have to do that on your state tax. You know what I mean? I mean, we need to get them to understand that this is a mirror of what else they're supposed to be doing, and that all the rules that go with that go with this. And I think you can spell that out in 2 paragraphs, when you send out the new sheet with the new tax rate. And of course, right now we're in flux because the tax rate dropped, and then now it's going to flip right back around in January and go back up. But, maybe that can give them some additional, oh, this is a real thing moment or whatever. I mean, that's.
And what I was telling him when he was in here the other day, I think I need to send a letter to each business with the updated form because that tax box is on the side. That obviously needs to drop for this quarter, those 2 cents. And then so with the delinquent letters that I sent, I just put a blank form for each month that they were delinquent, as well as 1 extra in there. Maybe they lost the forms and just didn't care. I don't know, but.
Well, part of it, I think, is education.
Yes.
On 178,
Mhm.
it's
And I've tried to call her twice and she hasn't answered.
it's the first time they've owned a business, and I think for whatever reason, no one has spelled it out.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I think adding a little instructional sheet on the back that kind of spells it out, even if it's just at our current, situation where we haven't gone through the entire process of what we need to do to change bylaws or penalties or whatever, but just to kind of spell it out and go, hey, this is a thing.
And I think
You
what
know,
the
and-
previous secretary had done is it just include like a welcome letter when she sent them. So the way I had set it up with business license, if we had someone apply for a business license, I had that question on there, and it's still on the business license application. Are you going to sell prepared food? If yes, an A&P is needed. An A&P form is needed. Unfortunately, although I instructed her for 2 months, so those forms were just getting filed with the business license, and A&P was not even notified that a new business had applied and had filled out a form, and she just had them. So I went and quick audited her business file and found 4 applications in there for A&P. So now I have to get with Encode and figure out how to set up a new account for A&P in Encode. But a welcome letter, once I get that application and get it processed, a welcome letter that explains the process, and then just an invitation to call with any questions.
Sure.
Is I think what the previous clerk had done, and I think would go a long ways to just making it a little more softer for the business than, hey, you owe us this tax.
Welcome now, please pay your tax. Yes, I kind of like the way that rolls off the tongue. Welcome now, please do your part. Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Well,
Ron.
yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and you could invite them in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce meeting
Yep.
and kind of kill
And
two
talk
birds with one
two birds, one
stone.
stone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then if
Yeah.
they're not a member of the chamber, you can give them an opportunity to join the chamber.
That is a fantastic.
If we need to sweeten that pot, if you're gonna have it at Airedale, I would throw in lunch for everyone.
What?
Including
Whoa.
to try to maybe entice those guys to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get a free lunch and
Absolutely.
maybe
See about
see if we
what
can
we're doing.
put them in the fold.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Because I truly believe, like 178, I truly believe it is just a matter of no one has explained it to them.
So when I figure out where my head is, I may just walk in her business down there.
You know where your head is.
2 or 3 times.
Good job. Thank you, Rhonda. Any other items y'all need to discuss or?
It's already like
Just
6
after.
minutes past my allotted hour, so.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all coming. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
So who first did?
No one first.
I first.
You
I
first,
first.
Gary.
I second.
Now we got a motion and a second to adjourn. Thank you all. I appreciate the work. We'll see you in November. Make sure y'all do your homework.
Mayor, I was gonna ask, so if an industrial park isn't the thing that we need to dangle, what would be the next lower thing that maybe is more attainable that
We've got
I'll get
two new subdivisions approved.
First thing.
Started.
I got a list.
To put in infrastructure. The other one's gonna be much larger, it's backed behind. Cracker Barrel. The guy that, I think I just went back to his name, he's a son. Place over in Fort Smith.
Calico
Calico
County?
County, like it was down there, we're going there anymore, but, and they're gonna build duplexes, apartments, mini storages, and residential homes. Got apartments